What's up, friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am going to be reviewing the hottest new Instagram trending brain supplement that literally turns your tongue blue. It's called Blue Cannatine by Troscriptions. Haven't heard of it? Don't worry, because it literally just came on the market about 2 weeks ago. Now, I was one of the crazy people at midnight furiously typing to order it, and I am excited to share with you my first impressions. And you will definitely want to stick around to the very end to find out what happened when I took it, because I definitely was not expecting it. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to get new videos like this every week. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the product into 3 main categories. Number 1 is going to be ingredients. Number 2, cost. And number 3 is effectiveness. So this dime-sized troche has 4 main ingredients: methylene blue, hence the name, caffeine, CBD, and nicotine. Also, side note, a troche is just a fancy word for a lozenge that actually dissolves in between your gum over the course of about 30 minutes. Now, when combined together, these 4 ingredients have a synergistic effect designed and intended to help you with focus, mental alertness, energy, and physical performance. Now, my only previous knowledge of methylene blue was that it's a dye often used in fish tanks. And so my first thought when I heard about this product was, hell no, I am not putting that in my body. But after doing quite a bit of research on this and knowing that it's pharmaceutical grade and purity tested, I am more convinced that this product is not going to send my body into an anaphylactic shock. But believe me, there is still a lot of question marks about this particular ingredient, and in some ways, I think it might even be more controversial than nicotine. So to break it down real fast, methylene blue, which we'll call MB for short, is a bioactive substance and a blue dye intended to help with cell and mitochondrial function. And on their website, Troscriptions says that methylene blue actually helps with better memory, mood enhancement, and neuroprotectiveness. So this individual troche has 5 milligrams of MB, which they claim is a safe dose. And on their website, they even link to a government study that shows the safe zone for rats to be between 1 milligram and 10 milligrams. But in doing a little bit more digging myself, I did find some research papers out there that showed anything greater than 7 milligrams could potentially cause blood disorders because the blue dye can actually oxidize hemoglobin in the body, which is pretty scary. Now, I am certainly not saying don't try this stuff, because I did, but like a lot of the crazy biohacking experiments I do on myself, this is definitely a use at your own risk. Also, totally not to scare you off, and I know this might, there are some studies that also show that even pharmaceutical grade methylene blue, which this is, can still potentially sometimes include arsenic, lead, and mercury. Now, there is a very, very, very small chance of this, but I am just laying out the facts. Now, I have listened to a ton of podcasts with the founder, Dr. Ted, and I've looked into his background and his work. He is one hell of a smart guy. His IQ score puts him at 1 in a billion on the planet. He got his MD at the age of 22. I don't even know what the hell I was doing at 22. Probably getting drunk somewhere. He's board certified in anti-aging and nutritional medicine, and he runs a health management nonprofit. And honestly, that is just skimming the surface of his full pedigree. So that being said, I really do think that Dr. Ted has done his research, and so I'm gonna take my chances on this methylene blue. Next ingredient we have is caffeine, which is one of my favorite cognitive enhancers of all time. Maybe a little too much. Now, if you're not familiar with caffeine's nootropic benefits, these can potentially include better alertness, reaction time, mood, and overall attention. About 100 to 600 milligrams of caffeine has been shown to help improve brain performance. Now, an average cup of coffee has about 95 milligrams, depending on how strong you make it. But this guy, one of these troches, they only have 50 milligrams. So I would say that's probably closer to a matcha tea. I myself am pretty immune to the effects of caffeine, but I know that there are a lot of people that are super hypersensitive to this stimulant, which is why they included their 3rd ingredient. So in this formula, they actually use hemp oil as an anti-stressor and anti-inflammatory. Now, it's labeled as hemp oil, which is actually quite different from CBD oil. Hemp oil comes from the seeds of the cannabis plant. CBD comes from the whole freaking plant. And traditionally, hemp oil has been used for things like skin disorders and PMS, whereas CBD oil is usually used for pain and inflammation. But a lot of companies will use the term hemp oil as opposed to CBD to avoid any issues with the FDA. And you can actually spot these out when you see words like hemp extract or even CBD on different parts of the label. Oh, and what do you know? This contains hemp extract. And on their website, they claim that this contains 5 milligrams of hemp oil crystals beatifically derived, and they've bolded CBD. Anyway, like L-theanine, CBD can be a great way to counterbalance the effects of caffeine, the stimulant, and the next ingredient, which is nicotine. Nicotine! Don't say it like that, Katie. Yes, nicotine, the elephant in the room. Nicotine has gotten such a bad rep from the tobacco industry, and yes, it is highly addictive. But this nicotine in blue Cannatine is not from tobacco, and it's only 1 milligram. So if you compare that to like nicotine gum, those are about 4 milligrams per dose. So this is just a quarter of that. So why use nicotine in a brain supplement? Well, clean nicotine can actually help stimulate certain neurotransmitters like GABA and dopamine in the brain, as well as help create more oxygen flow to the brain, hence the nicotine high. I've used nicotine gum before and in this product, and I found that it helps with focus, concentration, and a huge boost in creativity. Plus, it just makes you feel calmer. Obviously, there are some big downsides and major risks, but if you're overall healthy and you use it infrequently, I'd say that it can be a very powerful nootropic. Okay, on to cost. So 1 box of blue Cannatine, how do I open this thing? So 1 box of blue Cannatine has 4 of these little troches, and it costs $30 per case. So that's about $7.50 a dose. Definitely more than a cup of coffee and a cigarette, but it's also probably something you wouldn't use every single day. So when compared to a lot of other brain supplements on the market, yes, this is pretty freaking expensive. But you also have to realize that there's no one else on the market that's producing this or anything kind of like it, so they've got competitors' advantage. On to effectiveness. So for this one, I decided to call on a trusty friend of the show, aka my fiance, to give us his full take on the product.
So I've taken blue Cannatine 3 times now, and I can say you definitely feel something. It's got this elevation. I do get that sense of higher oxygenation in the blood, in my brain. I feel a little bit of clarity. You definitely get a bit of that nicotine high, but overall the product is subtle. I drink a lot of coffee, so it's hard to tell how much of that is being an impact, but I think if you're someone who's really sensitive to these ingredients, this might be a perfect blend that gives you that little edge. For me, maybe I do too many other smart drugs like Qualia and other things to where I'm not getting the full feeling from it, but no matter what, I think it's definitely a subtle effect. And as a word of caution, besides the fact that your tongue is going to turn blue, some other things turn blue as well, like your pee. So don't be surprised when you leave the bathroom. Okay, so back to Katie.
So I didn't think it was fair to give my full review to you guys because I only tried the troche once. And the reason for this, well, you might find hard to believe. Embarrassingly enough, it actually stained my braces. So much so that I had to go in for an emergency orthodontist appointment to get the rubber bands removed because they were completely stained. And that blue stuff was not coming out. Yeah, that was a really fun one to explain over the phone. Also, a huge shout out to the company OrthoWorks in San Francisco. I literally came into them at 5 o'clock on a Thursday, begging for them to remove my rubber bands because I had a dinner that night, and they came through. So shout out, Pamela, you were just a freaking gem. So needless to say, and sadly, I will not be trying this product again until these bad boys come out in a couple months. But I did have a couple of other friends try it, and here was their consensus. They all said they felt a buzz, probably from the nicotine, and they definitely noticed the blue tongue, but that's about all they got from it. Now, granted, all of these test subjects, aka my friends, they drink caffeine regularly, and so they probably didn't feel the effects of just a matcha equivalent dose of caffeine in this. And honestly, the nicotine dosage is really, really small and it doesn't last that long. Now, they said this product didn't make them feel limitless like they advertise on their website, but they said it would be interesting to try it on an empty stomach or before drinking a cup of coffee. Now, granted, everyone handles nootropics differently, and so what might be subtle for one person could be a surge of energy for another. So that being said, if you've got $30 to shell out and you don't mind your tongue being blue for at least 3 hours, then I say give it a shot. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you found this video useful, maybe a little entertaining, maybe hilarious. Please, if you did, give this video 2 thumbs up with your big thumbs. Look, they're blue. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already joined the Type A tribe. I cannot wait to see you on the next one.